I'm trying to say that about okay, yeah, that's but the regulation and action for climate change reduction. Okay, thank you. So, I'll you to wake up, but definitely I will challenge you because, okay, that's a typical presentation about global warming with sad story about glaciers or, but usually I have a, yeah, I'm not convinced about that. You know, it's like in religion. Everybody tells you to do good things, and the result is people are doing what they want. It's also the case of climate change. We can talk about what's a disaster and you should do this and that and on, and still people are reluctant. And so let's go, because one of the key problem is it's use less stuff. It's not my idea, but this is also a problem, by the way, who was talking before. It's the industry who doesn't like to use less stuff because, okay, what will they say, sell after? But on the other hand, think about the construction industry. They are facing major challenge. Let's see about what it's looking EU now. EU said, youngster don't like to go. I don't wish to have a career in the construction industry. 3%. So you're one of you, the students, you're one of the lucky one of 3% would like to pursue a career in the building industry. Why? They perceive it as a sort of, well, tacky industry. And in a way, they are right, because nothing has changed in the last 50 years in the way we are building. I mean, in the same brick layering, pouring concrete in the building. Something changed? Can you do it from your computer? No, but they would like to do it from their computer. So the other problem is the average age of the construction worker is 47. So that means that some of them, like me, will be retiring quite soon. So when you're talking about BIM-LCA, they'll say, okay, not for me. Soon I will be on my pension, going to Spain, and so goodbye, and solve your problems with someone else. So, so this is one of the challenges. I mean, think about what will happen to this industry. And some people said that we are just on one moment like the one with the telecommunication industry 30 years ago, when big companies were on the market, ITT, Deutsche Telekom. Have you heard about this company? You still are using a Nokia telephone? So this is the nightmare. Today, you're a very powerful company, selling a lot of things. And in few years' time, there will be a change, a revolution, and suddenly you've been lost, acquired by another big shark who will just waiting for that. So, as usual, the question is, why BIM, why LCA? So, before summarizing this afternoon, I would like to ask students, why are you doing this? With BIM and LCA, you already have excellent courses yesterday. So, why BIM, why LCA? It looks like a music, LCA. Why LCA? But why? Because there's always a challenge on that. What are you doing? Why did you came to the court? Why are you expecting to? Why are you taking back to heaven? Yeah, but look, that looks like yeah, propaganda style. Yeah, I'm looking, I will save the world, and yeah. But what's for you? So you are preparing for the next step because one of the imagine that being it's not only design. What we are missing now is what will be the beam on site because for the moment you're doing nice project, beam collaboration between different departments or different companies, but at the end your project is going on site where the same workers, which are 60 years old, are looking to the project and said, I know how to do it. I've done it for 30 years and it's the same story. So the problem is design is prepared, the conception is prepared. What is happened with contractor, if they are not prepared. It's no automatization in the industry. It's no robots or whatever in the industry. I mean, look outside, wherever, for the moment, it has not changed, but it will change. And definitely that's your challenge. What will be next? Because for the moment, we are just on one step and just a little bit like touching the ground of what will happen in the years to come. So, because what is happening now, I mean, from the perspective of the green building, in the fact that we are rethinking the way to do a project because old-fashioned project is done. I mean, it's the architect who's doing some sketches, the client who said, I like it or not, and then it will be improved and everybody gets involved. You receive the drawings, I'm doing the lighting, the other will do the sewage and so on. And at the end, we are just sending our project to the contractor and okay, this is it. And suddenly you find that this will be changed a lot. First, for a green building, you start with environmental performance target. What you want to do with that building. And one of the problems is because, yeah, that's typical for university. We are not talking about money because if you're talking with a client, first question will be how much it will cost me to do this and that. You will talk about nearly zero renewable energy. Then you always have to reply to the question how much it will cost. Okay, I want 30% renewable energy according to Romanian law for new building. Nobody is talking too much about how much it will cost, and definitely it's a cost on that. So you need funding opportunities because you cannot say it's the same price. I will do it a very nice green building on the same price like an ordinary one. Yeah, not possible. So you need to find funding. So that's the role of the government, local government, whatever, who needs to fund a little bit things like that because or else it will still keep it as a nice story. But at the end, the client will say, no, and it is not possible. I don't have enough reuse of existing building. Yeah, and this is a problem with the reuse because sometimes you need to do more calculation how to calculate a building which is 200 years older and so on. So it's quite complicated. And then source salvage material. This is again a problem because if I want to use ancient door to my new building, if it's a public building, public procurement, I'm not sure you're allowed to do this because, it's old, I don't know about the characteristic and so on. You need to fulfill a lot of regulation. I'm not sure how they have done the project. In Brussels, they have a new building with a lot of ancient windows inside. I don't know about from the security side, and there is a lot of Institutions will say, no, we're not allowed. But this should be the proper way to do it. Use salvage material. Of course, if you're not asking the building industry, which will be not happy about the salvage material, again, it's a problem with that. Select appropriate land. It's so important to have the appropriate land, but I don't want, but then the team is expanding. It's no more architect, civil engineer, building services, or mechanical engineer, how you want to call it. There will be a lot of people involved in these teams. You have an LCA expert, a green building assessor, and everybody has an opinion on that building and say, no, I'm not agreeing with this solution, and they have a very good explanation for that. There will be expanding design team, and it's growing, it's growing. So without BIM, you will not be successful on that. And again, environmental performance targets, site design. You find that before even sketching the building, you have a lot of things to do before doing that. And yeah, it's pain. Reduce the use of potable water. And usually it's why lawn, it's not a sustainable material. Lawn, green grass in front of the building, very nice, clean grass. People say this is not. Well, except if you're in the UK, because the lawn is natural. But in Spain, if you want a very nice lawn, green, and so like a golf, it's not sustainable. Because you're using a lot of water, it's not natural. Look around you. This is not a climate for a golf club, natural. You need water and so on. So these are all the problems that you need to solve before drawing the first line on your product. Then you have a lot of questions about biodiversity. So we are using the land where before there was wildlife and yeah, so you're encouraged to use land inside the city. So that's it's of course transportation. Think about how the public transport will be used. You're having a school, and one of the first problems will be the system kiss and ride. I mean, people are riding with their kids and bike, and this is one of the major problems now because you're rethinking the. Then you have building orientation and configuration. Again, you're have not a slightest idea about how it will look the building. Yeah, and yeah, and then it's the fifth stage where you're doing already a lot of work, where it's already a building and it's keeping shape, and you're doing all the classical design. So it's only number 5. And then reduce internal loads, dispose of water, and air is free of pollution. So that means that with BIM and LCA, we are ready to answer to a lot of questions that were never put before to our projects. I mean, yeah, that's and you can easily move. It's not that an architect has made a drawing and it says, I will not accept any change on my drawing because I'm a very important architect and I'm not discussing with anybody else. No, they have to discuss. So imagine that architects are sometimes not very happy with BIM and LCA because they would like to do nice sketches, drawings, and being more imaginative, and always said, no, according to the law, the MZ law, we cannot do this. The window is too large. I'm afraid there will be a lot of loss of energy and so on. Or you cannot use that material because, you know, the CO2 emission from that material it's too high. So in the design team has changed. It's not the architect who's the big boss, the emperor, who decides what to do, and you cannot say anything to that. So that will be the change. That's where that's LCA. Oh, sorry. So there are regulations. Yeah, regulations which let me say I will skip because I don't know about the real future. Usually we put it because it's very nice when you have a European project saying new Green Deal and so on. But on the other hand, nobody knows how the future will look like. But you need to be prepared. It doesn't mean that nothing will change and will be here in 10 years' time. The building will be done the same way as it's done now. No, it will be a lot of change. And of course, there are objectives, which is nice. Kyoto Protocol, you'll hear a lot in every presentation about Kyoto, Paris, or whatever they will need to do something. This is usually boring to read about, but the idea is that there's a pressure. There's a pressure to change, but on the other hand, imagine that construction industry is one of the few industry that is still European in a way. Concrete is still produced in Europe, and a lot of material still here. But sometimes when you make change in the industry, I'm coming from the lighting industry, and in the lighting industry, forget about what is produced in Europe. All the LEDs are done somewhere in Asia, and I hope we'll never have a war or something, or we cannot receive LEDs from Asia because we are lost. We don't have a single factory producing LEDs in Europe. So you want change, you invest in renewable, where all that money will go to? That's one of the tricky questions nowadays. But renewable photovoltaic. Have you seen a photovoltaic produced in Europe? That we know, because we are trying to do the LCA for a photovoltaic panel. And we have asked the producer, can you give me details about how it's produced, how much energy it's coming from, both from in a container from China. And if you're trying to ask them, they will say, no, we don't give this, because in a way, you will be talking about the FPD of the product. That needs to be transparent. You want to know where the product, the raw product is coming, how much energy is involved in this product, and so on. And not all the company are happy to be transparent and say, yeah, that's all the data you need. I will be happy to help you. So that's why we are having these problems, because we are trying to do something. We are trying in a way to save the European industry, because this is also a key issue, because only the European products have the FPD. If you're asking the FPD of a Chinese company, they don't have it. So it's a way to save the industry. Okay, you'll have all the what's there as a slogan, and you'll hear it every time. But you always have to think what's behind. Behind, it's a way of having a war where Europe is trying to survive in a way that you'll have a chance in future. That's the main problem now. So it's a lot of targets, and you will try to find an answer. So that's a lot of new terms that has come in the language. And you'll have to learn that for a product, and now we are getting into LCA. There are a lot of product stage. It comes from a raw material. Where is that raw material coming? soon they will come from nowhere. I just heard that you just found the biggest copper resources in somewhere in the sea of between Groenland and so you will be soon the biggest challenge for Europe because you'll supply gas, petrol, copper. Yeah, you're the dreamland. Yeah, the raw material. But I'm sure when it will come from Norway, they will have all the data that you need. And if you're asking, it's transparent, you can receive it. If it's from Africa, there will be a silence, nobody knows, and so on. So it's quite complicated. Transport, manufacturing. So this is the product stage. And usually you will be asked A1, A3. That's only product stage that sometimes it's the most difficult stage where you need to find data. And then it's construction process stage. It's where there will be a transport from the manufacturer to the site, and then, of course, in the installation process, you need a lot of now. You are using energy in order to make the foundation, the walls, and so on. And then it's the use stage. What are you using? How much energy you are using in this building in order to have heating, lighting, whatever it's needed for that building. But here, think about the maintenance. Not everything works without the maintenance or without producing hazardous material. For instance, we are having fluorescent lamp. Okay, it's usually 20,000 hours. After 20,000 hours, it's not functioning, but you just simply cannot throw it to the landfill. Why? Why? Because it's containing mercury. And if you're trying to landfill, it's a problem. So it cost me just to dismantle, put it very safely in a place, not to break it, and somebody will come and collect. And it's so you're producing a hazardous waste, which is a problem afterwards. It's not like a material that you're simply not using. And we cannot recycle in a way. I mean, we can collect the mercury and try to reuse it, but not anymore in the same industry because no one is using now mercury in the lighting industry. So a lot of problems with maintenance. Here you need to know what is the lifetime expectancy of the floor. Yeah, you need to know a lot of data. What is the lifetime expectancy of the window? Okay, at the beginning, you probably don't know, and you need to find all this data. So that's why are so important the software, because sometimes the software, they would say, usually the lifetime data for this product is how many years. So, and then we are not building anymore the Pantheon in Europe. I mean, a building which will last 2,000 years. Unfortunately, after 20, 50 years, we will turn it down. But now you need a plan for what you can reuse from a building like this. For instance, what will reuse from this building? Because obviously that will not stand forever. Any idea what you can reuse from here in another building? Yeah, that's other building or other building. And of course, as it was mentioned, it should be upcycling. I mean, doing something even better than it was before. I mean, some people say about existing buildings that they are banks of material because you should reuse it. I mean, again, it's nice to talk about bank. I will go to bank and try to, okay, maybe this radiator, which is, I don't know, from which material I can maybe reuse it. But in many cases, this is quite a challenge because we were not thinking 20 years ago what will happen with the materials. I mean, it will go to landfill, goodbye, we'll have a bright new building, and because that's the mentality of a builder. We want to build new buildings, of course, nicer, more comfortable, more and so on. But we don't want to think what will happen in 30 years with that building. That's not my problem. I don't think I will leave to that moment, so I don't care. They will solve the problem. It's like with the climate change. It's, yeah, someone will solve it for me. I don't know. It's a miracle. People are expecting miracle. That's the problem sometimes with religion and so on. So, yeah. And the product, life goal that last 1 year. Life goal from the company with life in kind of field. That's also problem on mentality. So, yeah, very good question, and you put it on my side, which is I always have to thank you. Yeah, I haven't paid for that question. But imagine now with the LEDs when you're saying it's 100,000 hours and it's still working. So the whole industry has changed. They are not selling consumable because before it was a consumable, you just take it away, throw it, and go again to the shop and buy another one. But in a way, they are making the product obsolete. The first product, when you're looking, said, "Oh, this is old LED. You know, we have now better. We have better." So you're always pushing a little bit the things, and at the end, you say, "Okay, but you know, your old LED lamp, it's not with dimming capacity. It cannot go on CAN-X or whatever control system." So in a way, you're pushing the things. So in fact, it's still working, but yeah, it's obsolete from the point of view of the technical characteristics. So yeah, and this is the challenge of the whole industry. So Philips was producing in Eindhoven. I mean, Eindhoven was a small village 130 years ago. And they start producing lamps and they have big factories and then they go to TV sets and so on. And then suddenly they said production, it's no more interest. It's no interest for them. And they replace everything with the so-called high-tech campus, where they have 5,000 employees, where it's only thinking about the next products and how the company will survive, because that's the challenge when it's how they will survive. And they have sold their factory, it's real estate development and so on. So it's like building research establishment. They have changed to another premises, selling the old premises in order to survive as BRE. Yeah. Yeah. It was too hot. Yeah. Okay. So these are the challenges now with and how you measure, what consume. So you'll see that there's this software, and you need to know where's the product coming. And in fact, you realize that in some cases, it will be very interesting if you can produce it on site. And by the way, by Philips. Philips, you know what's producing now? 3D printing luminaires. So you can say, I want the Cartagena symbol on my luminaire. No problem. We can have it for you. It's more expensive, by the way, but yeah, I mean, they are trying to readapt and to be always a little bit in front of the other. Doesn't mean that Chinese don't have 3D printing. But it's always the innovation and what's your pushing a little bit to that technology in front or the marketing. And by the way, who's promoting green building? Marketing department. So don't imagine there's so much pressure from the government or from the companies or for the head of the company. No, it's marketing and it's selling well. Yeah, but that, of course, another story. So you'll hear a lot about carbon storage. That's the key, in a way, when we are talking about the new building. What material is good for carbon storage? Yeah, so that's why there will be a lot of pressure to use wood. And I think I have somewhere an example with you have a block of flats in Norway with wood and so on. So the wood should be local, not coming from Romania. We have a lot of wood, but if you are talking about the way we are using the wood, I mean, exporting to Austria, I mean, Austria, they are producing CLT and it's coming back to Romania, which is a little bit crazy, but yeah, it's like with wool insulation who's coming from New Zealand. And you say, what is crazy? I mean, why coming from New Zealand when ships are all over Romania? But yeah, somebody is better in marketing and in promoting their product because at the end, that's the whole secret. Somebody is promoting a product which is better for nature, more sustainable. Sometimes it's sustainable, which a lot of discussion. And then it's offsetting. I was part of European project. It was a project called Restore. And at the end of the project, we needed to calculate how much CO2 was emitted by the plane because we went and visited a lot of countries. So you need to prove from which country you fly to which country, calculation, how much CO2. And then we needed a solution for offsetting. I mean, either we plant something, either we pay some money to NGOs to offset the CO2 we have emitted. And now it's a very nice European project. We are the model for the rest. But imagine when you start this calculation, not the reimbursement of the money will be asked by the university, how much CO2 you have emitted during your stay in Cartagena. Well, why do you care? Because we need to offset all the CO2 that was produced during your visit there. And yes, that's the kind of change in society. It will not happen probably in the next 2-3 years, but you'll hear about this kind of topics soon, as companies will also try to show how much will they offset. So I will stop here. I hope I was not too boring, but I was just trying to present what will happen. Always have in mind what will happen in the next year and what are you doing what you're doing with BIM, with LCA, because there's a peak afterward. If you're looking to long future, okay, you'll find the solution and you're in the forefront of 3% of people interested with having a career in the construction industry. Okay, thank you.